Hello and welcome to my FlossTube. I'm Nancy. This is Bohemian Stitchery. It's been 4 weeks since my last FlossTube. And that's mainly because I've pretty much had the kids every single week, and so it's been really hard because it's really hard to record when I've got the kids around. So because it's getting really close to the end of the year, I think the date today is the 16th of December. I thought I'm not going to do one more update FlossTube because I'm going to do a big whip parade at the end of the year, and it's going to be big. I think I've been gathering up all my whips. I've tried to catalogue them all. And I've got over 75 at the moment. And I think I have mentioned to you before that next year, 2024, is the year I turn 50. And so I'm doing 50 new starts in my 50th year. So that will get me well over 100, which is pretty exciting, actually. Anyway, but you know, on top of that, I'd like to do some finishes. There's some which are really close to being finished and whatever. Anyway, so the idea is I wanted to do a really big whip parade. So rather than doing an update video and then 2 weeks later doing a big whip parade and showing you stuff that I've already shown you a couple of weeks, I thought I'll just hold off. You know, I've been working really hard, stitching a lot. Now, I've also, as I've gone through all my whips, I've discovered probably about 25 of them, which I have not touched this year at all. So I'm hoping from Christmas through to New Year and that last week, unfortunately, I still have to go to work, but I'm going to try and touch every single one of my whips. So I'm going to try and put 100 stitches into all of those final 25 odd whips, which I haven't given any love to in 2023. And then next year, well, new starts and new goals, and it's all going to be very exciting. So, but what I thought I might do today is something I've been meaning to do for ages. First of all, have a sip of coffee. Is I'm going to do a kind of a historic finish parade. Right from the time I started FlossTube, I've meant to do this because I've got, it's not as many as I thought I had, but you know, I've still got a few projects that I've finished over the years that I've been stitching and I've had framed. And I'd like to show them to you, just maybe to prove that I do finish things occasionally. Also to sort of show you a few things I've learned in regards to finishing and framing, etc. And yeah, just sort of show you some finished things for a change. Okay, so if you just give me a moment, I'm going to get myself organized because I realize there's one more that's still hanging on the wall just over there. So I'm just going to go and get that, and then I'll have my pile and I'll start to show you. Okay, so I think I have them all here. Now, many of these I finished a while ago because, as you all know, I'm not great at finishing things. So I don't know whether I've got them in any particular order. So I'm just going to show you as they come. I do think that this one was one of my very first finishes. Now, let's see if I can show it to you. There's a lot of glare. Oh, there we go. Let's see if we can get this without... Oh no, there's quite a bit of glare because it's got glass on it. And there you are. Now, this was, anybody will probably recognize, it's a Donna Cooler from Cooler Studios. I think it's called Cats on the Bookshelf. I can't remember. And this was, I did this when I sort of first started stitching. Sorry about the shine. I wish I could turn that, but there's no way. And we're just going to have to live with it. And I was a monogamous stitcher at that point. Ooh, could you imagine? I remember stitching this one and nothing else. It was done 3/1 on a 14 count Aida. I also remember that. But this is, you know, we're going back a long time. This is more than 20 years. So, and I remember being very proud when I had it finished and I had it professionally framed. There we go. And I still love it. It still hangs on my wall and it looks still really good. Okay, so that was one. All right, so the next one is one, it's a bit dusty. which I framed myself. Oops, let's try and get some of the dust off. Okay, again, it's got glass on it. Sorry about the shine. Oops, hello, there we go. Let's see if I can show you, bring it back a little bit. That's good. There we go. So this one was an anchor kit, I think. It came, there was a pair. I've got a companion kit, which I haven't done yet, which is a wizard. So this was a unicorn, me and my horses. This is on an 18 count black Ada. Now I would have been stitching this. I still remember stitching this on an aeroplane from Britain back to Australia in 1997, I think, thereabouts, sometime. Anyway, I managed to finish it, and you know, here, this just goes to show how far I've come as a stitcher. I remember at the time, this is, you know, still back in my days of being, you know, perfectionist, etc. Somewhere along here, somewhere, there is like a couple of stitches where the crosses went the wrong way. And I remember going to a stitch show and asking somebody, going, what do I do about those? And that person, rightly so, looked at me like, I'm sorry. And now I think about it, I'm like, I beg your pardon? Like, who cares? Seriously. I think if you paid me, I would not be able to figure out where they are. So, oh, hang on, my phone's playing funny games. There we go. So yeah, so at that time, it just seemed so important to me that I had these stitches wrong. Now, don't care, whatever. Just wrong stitches, wrong colour, doesn't matter. Anyway, so I still love this one. This one hangs in my daughter's room. I have actually got the companion piece out to try and get that one done. But yeah, I framed this one myself. Yeah, it still looks pretty good, yeah, considering how old it is. So yeah, that's that one. Okie dokie. All right, that one's a slightly different one because that's not one of mine. Now this one, here we go, it's only a little one. Now there's no glare on this one, and that's because I did not frame it under glass. I actually really like the look of cross stitch when it's not under glass. However, and this is one of the lessons I've learned, at the time that I did this, so this is going back well over 20 years, because I did this one for my grandmother. My grandmother died in 2005. So this is probably around the year 2000 mark. Now it's All Our Yesterdays, and I can't remember the designer. I think I got it from a magazine. And I remember doing it and framing it for my grandma and sending it, because I was living in Britain at the time, and sending it over to her. I remember at the time thinking, I don't want to put it under glass because you lose the, you know, effect of the stitches, and who cares if it fades? Well, over 25 years or 20 odd years later, it has faded and got dusty. And now I'm like, I kind of wish I'd put it under glass. At the time, 20 years in the future just seemed forever. Whereas now, 20 years is kind of here. And, you know, through lots of seasons and sunshine and dust and whatever. But it's still very cute. This one hangs in my mum's house still. So yeah, so that one's a cute one. Okay, now while we're on to little ones not under glass, here's another one that again I absolutely insisted that I was not going to put under glass. This one still available. It is a Dimensions Charts and Charms kit. Maybe, I can't remember. It's a mini, one of their mini ones. And in typical Dimensions fashion, there was quite a lot to it. There was, you know, half stitches and couching and beads and French knots and all sorts of things, but it's still really pretty. I always love this one. It's the one I just took off the wall from over there. It too possibly could have done with being under glass. I think it's pretty dusty, and it was done on a, oh God, I can't see. Hang on, is that an 18 count? No, that's a 16 count. It looks like a 16 count blue Ada, but the Ada itself has faded quite a lot. So lessons to everybody, even though 20 years in the future seems like a long time away, things will fade. So yeah, but still pretty. So that's that one. Okay, I'm not gonna, these are my two pièces de résistances. I'm gonna put those down on the floor. There's only a couple more, so it's not like this is gonna be a long video. It's only gonna be a short video. So, right, this one I finished, again, we're a little bit dusty. Under glass. I framed this one myself. There we go. I was going to put it in a bathroom, but I remember somebody saying, don't put it in bathrooms. It gets really steamy and, you know, so, and they're probably right too. So it actually lives just outside here. It lives on the wall. I think it was a kit. Design Works. Can't remember. But I know it was fun. It was fun to do, you know, and it's very cute and it was easy and I quite liked it. So yeah, so it still hangs on my wall, not in a bathroom, obviously. So that's that one. This one as well, I know came in a kit. Oh, this one's dusty. Oh my God. Now this one is under glass, so sorry about the shine. And I cannot remember the name of the designer or the series. I'm sure somebody will remember them because, yeah, they were pretty popular at the time. I know that lots of magazines had them in. I think I got this as a free kit when I subscribed to one of the magazines. And I remember like starting it and then not, you know, then sort of stopping it halfway and then picking it up when I was pregnant with my son. And I finished it off then. And I actually went and got this one professionally framed. Oh, see, you know, that's the problem with glass, it's the shine, but at least it does protect the stitching underneath. So all this guy is done in half stitch, one single strand, so lots of back stitch in that one. But yes, very cute. All right, now there's only two more to go. As I said, I told you this was going to be a short video. I haven't finished a lot. I think there's probably more finishes around the house, but they're like tucked in boxes and things. They're not things that I've hung on walls. They're, you know, and I'll probably at one stage, if you give me a month or so of doing nothing but clearing out my craft room, I'd probably end up finding them all, but that's not going to happen right now. So I don't know which one I'm going to show you first. Oh, I'll tell you what I'll show you first. So this one is not one that I stitched. So I was out looking at charity shops because I was trying to find a frame of a particular size. And I found this gorgeous sampler and I think it cost me $8. And I was going to pull the sampler out and, you know, just to keep the frame. And then I looked at it and first of all, not only is it professionally framed and beautifully professionally framed, but there's a lot of work that went into that. And I looked at this, it said wrought by Susan Frayne 1990. I don't know who this person is or was, but I have a funny feeling that if she is still alive now, she's probably quite old. And it just felt like there was so much love that had gone into this sampler for it to end up in a charity shop. And then for me, a stitcher to rip open the frame, pull it out and I don't know what to do with it, stick it in a box. It just felt wrong. So actually I keep this one on my wall because I really like it. I think it's really sweet. So yeah, so that's a one that sits on my wall, not one that I did though. Okay, now these are my two favorite ones. So we'll start with this one. So this one, you'll probably recognize this, is called Morning Song by Lavender and Lace. Professionally framed, not very well, mind you. If you actually look very closely, this is not straight. I remember being so annoyed when I got it back from the framers. I'm like, it's Ada, there are lines on it. How difficult is it? But, you know, whatever. Anyway, the frame is perfect, but so this one took a lot of work. This one lives at my mum's house. Mum and dad love it. So let's see if I can turn it slightly. There we go. Just gets the shine off a little bit. This skirt was a nightmare to do. But it looks so good. Now, I'll tell you a very funny story about this particular one. Oh, she's heavy. Oh my gosh, it's hurting my arms. There we go. I'll put my hand underneath. So, funny story about this one. So, she is full coverage. The whole background is stitched. And I started, as I always did back then, in the middle. And I remember working, all the way around the skirt. And then all of a sudden, I think I know what it was. I wanted to try out parking. So I was just discovering, full coverage. And I thought, I'll try parking. I was like, I know. I'll try it out on this one, which is on 14 count Aida, natural 14 count Aida. I'll give parking a shot. So what I did is I stopped here and I counted and started up in this top corner and off I went. And then I arrived about here and realised I'd counted wrong. And I was actually a couple of stitches out. And so immediately she went into timeout and in disgust, and I was like, I'm never picking it back up again. And then I think one day I kind of took a deep breath and I was like, you know what, just do it. Pull it all out, take it all out, start again. So, all of this bit that I'd done up the top, and I'd done a fairly hefty amount. I'm not talking, a couple of stitches. I'm saying I'd probably done, probably down about her hair, down to about there. And that took days for me to cut out. I ended up I remember being at a stitching group, and the lady who was running the group said, just give it to me and I'll do it. So she sat there for a few hours and cut out a few more stitches, and eventually I got them all cut out. And then I continued stitching from where I was all the way back up and around. So the things we do, right? Anyway, I do love this one. The effect in the background is just beautiful. And considering it's on a 14 count Aida as well, that the distance and everything in the background is just amazing. The detail is beautiful. So so this one lives at my mum's house. She loves that one. Okay. And then the last one, which I want to show you, which I'm also very proud of. This lives in my hallway. This is very heavy. It's also a lavender and lace. I think this one is called Angel of Peace. Again, professionally framed, under glass. There we go. Now, I'm going to struggle to hold her up for very long because she's really heavy. So, but also not perfectly framed again. Not that you can see. Let me see if I can, no, I can't rest her on the table. What can I rest her on? No, the shine. Oh my God. Put it this way, I can't show you. I'm gonna have to rest her down on the table. But the line of the little village underneath actually goes on a bit of a slope because she's not been framed straight. I don't know, the framers I've used have just seemed to be unable to get fabric straight inside the aperture, but whatever. The other interesting thing about her, I did her on, it was the called for sort of natural linen, but actually the linen I used wasn't exactly an even weave. And where that comes out is if you look at her face, it's very long. Her face is not sort of that lovely round cherubic kind of face that it should be. It's much longer, and that's because it's not quite even weave linens, so the crosses aren't quite square. It didn't matter, but yeah, the detail is beautiful. So there we go. So I think it's Angel of Peace. I can't remember. Whatever. Anyway, so I've got to put her down because she's so heavy. Right. Okay, so that's my finishes. I've done a few, and it's quite inspiring to see them because I think, it just goes to show it's really good to finish something. But the problem is I finish things and then I leave them in a box. I still have Xenia, the Nora Corbett Witch, sitting over there, still on the frame. I finished this months ago. I actually showed it on a FlossTube months ago, and I will show her again in my whip parade. But unfortunately, she's still sitting on the frame. I literally haven't touched her since I finished. I haven't even taken her off the frame. And I've said to my mum, as soon as Old Smokey's finished, we'll take both of them to the framers and we'll get them both framed and hung up. But yeah, I think that's the problem. I'm a real process stitcher. I like stitching because I like stitching, and I'm not motivated by the finish. And when the finish happens, it's like, oh, isn't that lovely? And then I put it down and then it's like, now let's move on to the next thing. And I should change that. I need to change that. You know, I have a house with walls which are unencumbered by anything. Not my favorite color, I have to say. I will one day repaint the walls of this house. I've never liked the color of this house, but yeah, that's another story. But I could literally cover my house in cross stitches and nobody's going to stop me. So, but I have to actually get them all framed. So maybe I need to do that. Anyway, so that's it. Just a short one today. Oh, hang on. I will show you a couple of charts that I purchased during the Black Friday sales. So a little bit of haul, because next one's going to be Whip Parade, so there's not going to be any discussion about haul. I did buy a kit off Stash Unload, but I've started that, so that will also come up in my Whip Parade. But I bought a few charts, and I bought them from Etsy. I think her name is Pink Lily Designs, and she was having more than, I think it's 50% more sale. So I got a couple of charts. This one, it's called Gamer Girl. Now, I bought this one thinking my daughter would love it because I think it's really cute. And, you know, she loves her computer games and whatever. Guess what? She hated it. Why did I ever think anything I bought her was going to be something she'd like? I don't know. You'd think after 9.5 years, I'd know by now that anything I buy her, she's going to hate it. So she hates it. I love it. I'm going to do it because I love it. She said, oh, could you just do the cat? I like the cat. I'm like, just forget it. I think I was contemplating doing it on black rather than stitching all the black in the background. There's a lot of black in the background. But, you know, sometimes you find with these full coverages, the backgrounds, they're not pure black. They're kind of, they go in shades. And I know there's definitely sort of, you know, a halo of purple around the characters. But I'm going to see if there's a way that I can maybe not do the black. I don't know. Anyway, so that's that one. The other one I bought is called Alice and the Floating Castle. Again, you know, beautiful full coverage. That one, obviously you have to do the whole background, but I just thought that was fab. And then the third one I bought from her is called Dolphin in the Coral. This one my daughter did love. So I think I'll do that one for my daughter. I bought it because it's got lots of block stitching, which is nice. And anybody who knows any of the stitch games that we play know that the faster you can stitch, the better. And so block stitching is good. So you're looking for as many projects as you can with block stitching. Saying that, you know, maybe the background of Gamer Girl with the black would actually be really good for some of the stitch games, because you just get on and do it and you can do it really quick. So, but yeah, this one's not a full coverage, but it is beautiful. And I think I might do it on a blue piece of linen. I have a piece of blue linen, which I think would work very nicely with that one. So that was my haul. I have also bought another kit off Stash Unload, but that one hasn't arrived yet. It's a Dimensions, one of their Dimensions horse kits, which I have been looking for ages. So I'm pleased about that. So that one is another one. And, you know, as I was kind of thinking, I'm thinking I'll probably maybe, you know, with all my new starts and everything for next year, maybe I should just stop buying stuff. And just like, if I'm buying anything, it's going to be threads, because that's the other thing, is I'm going to over Christmas set up my master set. all ready for all my starts for next year, because there's no way I'm going to be able to do that many starts without having a master set of DMCs. So maybe what I need to do is, rather than doing like buying more kits, Nancy, don't buy more kits, stop buying more kits, is just to spend my money on DMC and use some of these amazing kits and charts that I've already got, of which I have a ton, and of which I'd like to start all of them. So yeah, that's it. So next one is going to be big whip parade. Might end up going over 2 videos, because otherwise it could end up being 2 hours long. Which, you know, I know some people like long videos. Saying that, I will have a talk about some of the FlossTubers I've been watching, because I have been. But I'll just see. It is also whether my phone can kind of cope with a video that big, and then I've got to edit it and, you know, all of that. So, but yes, it'll be end of year whip parade coming up next. And at the end of that, I will talk about all my big plans for 2024. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing everybody's whip parades, because I know there's going to be loads coming, and I love a good whip parade. So yes, so I'll be hanging out for all of those. And then 2024 will start with a new year, new start on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. And then it's going to be 4 starts a month, every month, with an extra one for my birthday for the whole year. It'll be so exciting. Anybody want to join me? If anybody wants to join me, feel free. Come and join me in the multitude of starts. It's going to be great. Yes, so FlossTubers I've been watching. I just love Jen the Caffeinated Stitcher. She's a stitcher after my own heart. Like, you think I've got a lot of whips. I'm not even, I'm in mini league in comparison to Jen. She's just amazing, and I know she's going to do a whole lot of new starts next year, which I cannot wait to see. So, but she stitches a lot, and she sets these goals and she ticks them all off, and it's fabulous. So I've been really inspired by her. I think I've binged most of her videos. The thing is, and this is where I made the point about long videos, she makes really long videos, like, you know, several hours. Sometimes, so like last night I sat and I think I watched, you know, a couple of them, but normally I don't really have time to watch the whole lot. And I think what happens if you have a long video, you kind of watch what you can, and then you mean to go back to it next time, but, you know, whatever. Anyway, so Jen the Caffeinated Stitcher, lots of full coverage, all sorts of projects. So little projects, big projects, all kinds of things. She's got a real mix. And, you know, her goal setting is just great. And she's achieved so many of her goals this year. And she's finished a lot too. So she's definitely one to watch. A second one who was actually recommended to me by my lovely friend Carla, that's Stitch Me Sane. Check her out if you haven't checked her out. My God, what are you doing? Go and check her out. She's fabulous. So he's called The Running Stitcher. He's an American from New York, and he's also a runner. So I kind of felt like I found a kindred spirit, because finding a stitcher and a runner at the same time. He had his medals up behind him. All my medals are in the bedroom, so there's loads of you don't want to see those. That's a bit boring, but so yes, The Running Stitcher, he's really good. Go and check him out. The other one I was watching last night, I watched Suki, the Brown-Eyed Stitcher. Everybody knows and loves her. Just amazed by her. Amy Stewart, it's not the stitching shelf, but it's one of the bookshelves. Phenomenal, just stunning. So if you would like to see a full coverage, almost finished, it'll blow your mind. So yes, so watching her, and I think that's all. I mean, I've caught up on a few of my favorites as well, but for the first few weeks, I just haven't had a chance to watch FlossTube. So yeah, so those are the ones I recommend this month. And talking of FlossTubers, in about half an hour, I'm off for a coffee with Caroline, the FlossTube Stitcher. Haven't caught up with her for months. We keep meaning to. We finally managed to coordinate a day where I don't have kids, she's not working, and so we're catching up for a coffee this afternoon. So it's going to be a chatting and stitching afternoon all afternoon. Anyway, that's all I have for you today, and I will see you in the next video, which will be my end of year whip parade, possibly part 1, yeah, get ready for a long one. So in the meantime, keep up the stitching. Hope you're all doing lots of lovely Christmas stitching, and we'll see you next time. Okay, see you later. Bye.